Israel is always the time lock of God. So when we look at Israel, we are going to see that many of the prophecy being fulfilled. And today, as we are going to look into the war, the earthquake, and the pestilence, we already know it. It has been increasing. And one of the great things that we have heard about the rebirth of Israel, or about the re-establishment of Israel, the rebirth of a country, the reborn of a country, which is impossible in human eyes. And it's not logical, because as we study about the nation fall and disappeared. And there was no, the reason why I said there was no, because at this time we already have, there is one, right? There was no nation that had been disappeared for long periods of time, and then they re-emerged, only Israel. And that was written and declared and prophesied by the prophet Isaiah in the book of Isaiah, chapter 66, verse 7. Before she goes into labor, she gives birth. Before the pains come upon her, she delivers a son. Who has ever heard of such thing? Who have ever seen things like this? Can a country be born in a day, or a nation be brought forth in a moment? Yet no sooner is Zion in labor than she gives birth to her children. That is one of the prophecies that talk about the rebirth, about the reborn, the re-establishment of Israel as a state or as a nation. And if we also read in the book of Ezekiel chapter 37, we are going to see also the same prophecy that talk about the coming back of this nation. When God spoke, things will come to pass. Now, let us give a little bit of the background so that we can see that more than 2,000 years, you remember about the story about the empires that we have learned, right? From the Babylonian Empire to the Medo-Persian Empire to the Greek Empire to the Roman Empire. And we remember about the first scattering of the Israelites that took place in the years of 722 BC. And at that time, the Assyrian was the one who attacked the northern kingdom, and then they brought the 10 northern tribes into captivity. So that was the end of the northern kingdom, or we call Israel. At that time, before that one, Israel, the Jewish people nation was divided into the north and the south. And the north represented by Israel, and the south was represented by Judah. But the 10 lost tribes was taken into captivity by the years of 722 BC. But after that, after some time, the second scattering took place in 596 BC. With the southern kingdom or Judah by the Babylonians. And after that, when the Persian Empire took place, and you still remember about the story, after 70 years of the scattering of captivity, the Persian king or emperor allowed the Israelites to come back and to rebuild Jerusalem. And then the final scattering, and it declared that the state of Israel was no longer appear or in existence. That was in 70 AD, when the Roman totally destroyed the second temple. The first temple was destroyed by the Babylonian, and the second temple was destroyed by the Roman Empire. So that was the background. So you could imagine that the Israelites were scattering for more than 2,700 years. And now, if we count from at the last scattering in the 70 AD, more than 2,000 years, how is it possible that a nation can be established? But we know from the history that on May 14, 1948, the state of Israel was reborn. And that fulfill the prophecies of God. That fulfill the promises of God. And you and I are going to read many scriptures to see how God cares for His people. How God remember the promises that God has given to His people.